about channeling in sessions more than necessarily relying on the astrology.
But in your case, it's I would say it's a lot about, the channeling part more
Yes, yes.
entirely,
Yeah.
that thing.
Yep.
How is that trust?
Yeah.
How do you build that trust?
It's so good. Okay, well, I think that a lot for me is that in the sessions when things start, because I always start each session like, a lot of people are expecting like a psychic reading. Like I'm just gonna sit there and be like, blah blah blah, you're gonna marry a handsome prince and ride off into the sunset. Fuck, of course, I could sit there and do that, but that's not what I'm about. I'm about the depth and how can we get to the deepest place in your energy field and free you from that without, without messing with karma or like, divine path sort of things, events. Um, and I think it's when when the information comes through that is true and nails things in a way that there's no possible way I could know without, it being actually real. That's when I gain more confidence and when other and then as soon as they surrender to the fact that like, yeah, this is actually a real thing,
Mhm.
everything starts flowing way better. So like when people come in and they're like wanting me to prove something or like,
Yeah.
well, you're gonna have to prove, it takes like half an hour, 40 minutes for the proof to come through, and then they only get a little bit of like the real thing, you know what I mean? So it's like it's the best thing. I guess I'll share a story before your question there, or so I was working with a person, and I hope it's okay if you're listening to this that I am sharing this, but I really feel to share it because it was amazing. We're working on their heart area, and all of a sudden this like portal opens and I see this dog come through, and it's like a mastiff or like a big dog with like docked ears and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, there's a dog coming through right now. And she's like, oh, and I was like, oh god, what? And she's like, that's my dog, she just died a week ago.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my god. And like she wasn't a mastiff, she was a cane corso, but like that's basically the same thing that I was seeing. And uh so for her that solidified, okay, the message is clear, my dog is okay and has crossed over and is making sure I'm okay. And B, the shit's real, because how the fuck would I know that? I'm not stalking their Facebook and like,
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Uh, yeah. I'm actually really happy that we're discussing these topics because a the more I just want to say to people out there listening, the more open and trusting you are of, let's say, me or Mercedes, the easier the work is for us. So when you want us to prove anything to you, yeah, it will take a time,
It's
etc. etc.
sticky. It's sticky. And it's not like we don't feel that energy. It's not like a mystery that you're skeptical. Like,
That's evident even before especially probably for you as well. But before I even meet the person, it's quite. I can feel
oh,
it
it's
actually.
clear. Oh, yeah. The energy starts coming in, messages start happening. Oh, yeah. Constant.
And yeah,
But, when you reach this place where all these things are happening, where you have these intuitive feelings, you already know what's going to happen before the person comes in, you know, there's also this level of respect that we have for each person wherever they are. It's not like, oh, this person's going to come and be skeptical, well, fuck that person.
mm,
That's never the thought. The thought is
mm,
like, oh wow, this person's going to be skeptical. How, okay, universe, how, we start asking questions, how can I best help this person, without forfeiting myself.
I think that's one very important question I always ask, like, oh, what's the best way, or how can I channel the best information? What's the best thing to look at for the person to be served in the best shape or form right now?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
exactly.
you mentioned that, like, the prints and the predicting of the future, because I think this is one of the keys I really want to put forth, and for people to understand, is like, you're coming in from a vibration or an energetic vibration right now that you're in. The key is not to create your life from that vibration usually, because usually that vibration will create more of those same
Hmm.
problems, that you're most likely the reasons why are even, coming to us. But the goal should be to get you to a better place, to a better space, better energy,
Yes.
higher frequency. We can also say that, to release some of that pain, hurt, whatever it is that's holding you back,
Suffering.
suffering that is holding you back. And
Yeah.
then from that space, you can actually, create those things that you're actually desiring or wanting, or create a new, better version of the things. Because what I really see is, one of the things I see is relationships. People have a big issue and big problem with relationships, and I think
Hmm.
it's especially important because, a lot of people come. I just keeps selecting the same partner, same problems
Yeah.
constantly.
Oh, why? Why do you think that is? Do you think that's like a society thing that no? Oh,
No,
oh, he's shaking his head. He's shaking his head.
100% no. 100% no. I'm
Ah,
very, very confident in this, and I've seen this a lot.
okay.
And everything starts with the first primary relationship example. So yes, it's sometimes
Oh,
you can
you
take
mean your parents?
parents first.
Right.
Is always parents. This is where you get the imprint. This is where you get the role models. This is where you get the energy, actually, of the for your future relationships. Now, in some cases, yes, it can take a little bit of other forms of foster parents. Um, what is it called?
Grandparents,
Grandparents. Sometimes bring yourself up. You get
adoptive,
adoptive, and what's the if you have
step
step
parents.
step parents, exactly, and you get that step parent relationship, and you take that on as the either, if you're a man or a woman, you take that role on, and you start actually creating that in your life. And a lot of it is, especially if there is pain, trauma, um, judgments towards those relationships, those people, you're constantly through those judgments creating the same type of a person, a similar vibrational person to you, in order to release that pain, because actually it's pain energy stuck there that is creating that. So once you start understanding that, and you start releasing that judgments, releasing and feeling that pain, you don't need to create that same type of person. And what also can happen is when you start let's say you're in a relationship and maybe you're stuck in that and you don't know exactly, but it's not the right one, and you start to evolve, let's say, and you come to a therapist or whatever, me, Mercedes, whoever, and you manage to release, let's say, a big portion of that energy. Now what I've also seen happen is the other person who can't raise their level or doesn't let go of those old things, just leave. The relationship ends, and you start
Yeah.
creating a new partner, a better, let's say, quote unquote, better partner for you, because you're not anyway stuck in that same loop of pain,
Yeah.
judgment. I want that same pain triggered. Now it's like, okay, whew, I've become a more whole person, and I want something else, and you're now ready to ask for that as well. You're ready to
Mhm.
receive. I want to say this.
Totally.
I want to say one thing about receiving, because this is a big freaking thing for people. because of those